Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating corners of American coin collecting, Lincoln Memorial pennies. While many people think of pennies as common pocket change, some of these coins carry surprising value, especially when rarity, condition, and collector demand all come together. In this video series on the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins, we're starting with a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but has a story and market presence that could truly surprise you. First up, the 1973 D Lincoln Memorial cent in very fine condition. To understand why this coin can attract attention, we need to go back a bit in history. The Lincoln Memorial penny design was introduced in 1959, replacing the earlier wheat reverse to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1973, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies annually to meet circulation demand. The D Mint mark indicates that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities responsible for high-volume coin production. Because of the massive mintage numbers in 1973, many people assume these coins are too common to be valuable, but that's not always the case. What makes the 1973 D Lincoln cent stand out begins with its features. Like other coins in the series, it carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design that remained in use until 2008. However, subtle differences in strike quality, luster, and preservation can significantly affect value. In very fine condition, the coin still retains moderate detail. Lincoln's hair and coat lines are visible, and the memorial columns can be partially distinguished, though some wear is evident. Coins from Denver in this year are known for occasional weak strikes and surface marks, so a well-preserved very fine example can stand out more than expected. Now let's talk about rarity and collector demand. Technically, the 1973 D penny is not rare in terms of total mintage, over 4 billion were struck. However, rarity in coin collecting isn't just about how many were made, it's about how many survive in collectible condition. Many of these coins circulated heavily for decades, leading to wear, damage, or outright loss. Finding a 1973 D penny in clean, problem-free very fine condition, or better yet, with strong details and minimal distractions, can be more difficult than the raw numbers suggest. Collectors who aim to complete high-quality Lincoln Memorial sets often seek out these better-preserved examples, increasing demand. When it comes to the auction market, this is where things get interesting. While most circulated 1973 D pennies might only be worth a few cents, select examples in appealing very fine condition, especially those with original surfaces and no major blemishes, can command significantly higher prices. In niche auctions or among specialized collectors, such coins have been known to sell for anywhere from a few dollars up to $20 or more, depending on eye appeal. Even more impressive, coins that are on the borderline between very fine and extremely fine, or those with unusual characteristics like minting errors, can push values even higher. It's a reminder that even common coins can carry hidden value when the right factors align. For collectors looking to add a 1973 D Lincoln cent to their collection, there are a few important tips to keep in mind. First, always pay close attention to the coin's surface. Look for excessive scratches, corrosion, or cleaning marks, as these can reduce value. Second, focus on detail. The sharper the features, the better. Third, consider buying from reputable dealers or auction platforms to ensure authenticity. And finally, patience is key. Because these coins are often overlooked, opportunities to find high-quality examples at reasonable prices do come along, but you have to be ready to recognize them. In conclusion, the 1973 D Lincoln Memorial penny in very fine condition may not seem extraordinary at first, but it represents an important lesson in coin collecting. Value isn't just about age or mintage, it's about condition, demand, and the story behind each piece. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, coins like this show that even the smallest denominations can hold surprising worth. Stay tuned as we continue exploring more of the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins. You might just discover that treasure is hiding in plain sight. Let's continue our journey into the world of valuable Lincoln Memorial coins, and as promised, we're moving ahead with our next featured coin, the 1981 D Lincoln Memorial cent. This is where things start to get even more interesting, because while this coin may look ordinary, it actually holds a special place in US coin history and has caught the attention of collectors for some very important reasons. The 1981 D penny comes from a time when the United States Mint was on the edge of a major change. Rising copper prices were making it too expensive to produce pennies using the traditional bronze composition. So, 1981 became one of the final years before the big transition in 1982, when the mint shifted to copper-plated zinc coins. This makes the 1981 D part of the last generation of true copper, Lincoln Memorial cents. Minted in Denver, as shown by the D mint mark, this coin represents the end of an era, and that historical significance alone adds to its appeal among collectors. Now, let's talk about the unique features of the 1981 D coin. It carries the classic design that collectors know and love, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But what really matters here is condition. In very fine condition, the coin shows some wear from circulation, yet key details remain visible. You can still see Lincoln's facial features clearly, and the structure of the memorial is distinguishable, though not as sharp as in higher grades. Many coins from this year were heavily used, so finding one with smooth surfaces and decent detail can actually be more challenging than it sounds. When it comes to rarity and collector demand, this is where the story gets deeper. Even though billions of 1981 D pennies were produced, most of them didn't survive in collectible condition. Over time, they've been scratched, worn down, or simply lost. Collectors today are not just looking for any example, they want coins that still look attractive, with original color and minimal damage. Because of this, demand remains steady for higher quality circulated coins, especially among those trying to complete a full Lincoln Memorial set. Now let's discuss the current market value, which is what many of you are most curious about. A typical 1981 D penny in average circulated condition might only be worth a few cents. However, a strong very fine example with clean surfaces and good eye appeal can sell for anywhere between $2 to $10 in the collector market. And if the coin is on the higher end of very fine, almost approaching extremely fine, the value can go even higher in auctions where collectors compete for the best looking pieces. The big takeaway here is that not all coins are equal. Small differences in condition can lead to big differences in price. For those of you who are collecting or thinking about starting, here are some useful tips. Always check your coins carefully under good lighting. Avoid coins that have been cleaned, because cleaning can reduce their value significantly. Try to find coins with natural color and as few marks as possible. And don't rush, sometimes the best finds come when you least expect them, especially in old collections or coin rolls. To wrap things up, the 1981 D Lincoln Memorial cent is a perfect example of how a seemingly common coin can carry real value when you understand its background and condition. It represents the closing chapter of the copper penny era and continues to attract collectors who appreciate both its history and its potential worth. Keep watching, because in the next part of our series, we'll reveal another Lincoln Memorial coin that might surprise you even more. Let's keep the momentum going in our series on the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins. Moving forward, our next coin is one that has gained serious attention among collectors over the years, the 1998 D Lincoln Memorial cent. This coin might look like everyday pocket change, but once you understand its story and what makes certain examples special, you'll see why it can carry impressive value in the market. The 1998 D penny was minted in Denver during a time when the Lincoln Memorial design was still in full circulation across the United States. By the late 1990s, pennies were being produced in massive quantities, and most people paid little attention to them. However, this period is known among collectors for subtle varieties and minting quirks that can turn an ordinary coin into something highly desirable. The 1998 D is a perfect example of how modern coins can still surprise collectors. Looking closely at the features of the 1998 D coin, it follows the standard design with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But here's where things get interesting. Some 1998 D pennies are known for a variety called the wide AM. This refers to the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse. On normal coins, the letters are closer together, but on the wide AM variety, there is a noticeable gap. This small detail can make a huge difference in value. Even in very fine condition, this variety can stand out if the spacing is clearly visible. When we talk about rarity and collector demand, the standard 1998D penny is not rare by mintage, with billions produced. However, the wide AM variety is significantly harder to find, especially in circulated conditions where details may be worn down. Many of these coins went unnoticed in circulation, which adds to their scarcity today. Collectors actively search for this variety, and that demand has driven up interest and value, particularly for clearly identifiable examples. Now let's get to the part everyone is waiting for, the market value. A regular 1998D penny in very fine condition is usually worth only a small premium, often just a few cents to $1. But if you happen to find the wide AM variety, the value jumps dramatically. Even in very fine condition, these coins can sell anywhere from $10 to $50, depending on clarity and overall eye appeal. In higher grades, especially uncirculated, they can reach into the hundreds of dollars at auction. This makes the 1998D wide AM one of the most exciting modern Lincoln Memorial varieties to look for. For collectors, the key tip here is attention to detail. Always examine the reverse of your coins carefully, especially the word, America. Use a magnifying glass if possible to clearly see the spacing between the letters. It's also important to avoid coins with heavy damage or cleaning, as these factors can reduce value even if the variety is present. Searching through coin rolls or old collections can be a great way to find one of these hidden gems. In conclusion, the 1998D Lincoln Memorial cent proves that even modern coins can hold surprising value when a unique variety is involved. While most examples are common, the wide AM version has become a favorite among collectors and can bring strong prices in the market. As we continue this series, remember, sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Stay tuned for the next coin, because the list only gets more exciting from here. Let's continue our exciting journey through the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins, and now we move on to our next fascinating entry, the 2000D Lincoln Memorial cent. This is another modern coin that many people overlook, but collectors know that hidden varieties and subtle details can turn an ordinary penny into something truly valuable. The 2000D penny was minted at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of coins were being produced every year for circulation. By the year 2000, the Lincoln Memorial design had already been in use for over 4 decades, making it one of the most recognizable coin designs in U.S. history. However, even in such a mature design series, the minting process was not always perfect, and that's exactly where collectors find opportunity. Coins from this period are especially interesting because of the appearance of transitional design elements and variety errors. When we look at the features of the 2000D coin, it carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But just like the 1998D, there is a particular variety that makes this coin stand out, the wide AM reverse. On certain 2000D pennies, the spacing between the A and M in America is wider than normal, which is not supposed to appear on coins struck for circulation. This variety likely occurred due to the accidental use of a proof reverse die in regular production. Even in very fine condition, if the coin clearly shows this wider spacing, it becomes much more desirable. In terms of rarity and collector demand, the standard 2000D penny is extremely common, with billions minted. However, the wide AM variety is much scarcer, especially in circulated grades where details may be worn. Because these coins were released into everyday circulation, many went unnoticed for years. Today, collectors actively search for this variety, and demand remains strong, particularly for coins where the wide AM feature is clearly visible and not worn down. Now let's talk about market value, which is where things get really exciting. A regular 2000D penny in very fine condition might only be worth a few cents to about $1 at most. But if you have the wide AM variety, the value increases significantly. In very fine condition, these coins can sell for anywhere between $15 and $60 depending on their clarity and overall appearance. In higher grades, especially uncirculated examples, they can reach well over $100 in auctions, sometimes even more if collector demand is high. This makes the 2000D wide AM one of the most rewarding modern pennies to discover. For collectors, the most important tip is to carefully inspect the reverse of every 2000D penny you come across. Look closely at the word, America, and check the spacing between the letters, A, and M. A magnifying glass can make this much easier. Also, always choose coins with natural surfaces and avoid those that appear cleaned or damaged, as these issues can reduce value. Searching through coin rolls, old jars, or inherited collections can sometimes lead to finding one of these valuable varieties. In conclusion, the 2000D Lincoln Memorial Cent shows us once again that modern coins are full of surprises. While most are common, the white AM variety has captured the attention of collectors and continues to hold strong value in the market. It's proof that even the smallest detail can transform a simple penny into a collectible treasure. Keep watching, because we're not done yet. There are still more valuable Lincoln Memorial coins to uncover in this series. Let's keep moving forward in our series on the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins. Now we arrive at another modern coin that has quietly gained attention among collectors, the 2001D Lincoln Memorial Cent. At first glance, it may seem like just another common penny from the early 2000s, but as always in coin collecting, the real story lies in the details. The 2001D penny was minted at the Denver Mint during a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins each year to meet circulation needs. By this time, the Lincoln Memorial design had become a long-standing symbol of American coinage, familiar to nearly everyone. However, even in such high production years, small variations and quality differences continued to emerge, creating opportunities for collectors to cant at rare and valuable pieces within otherwise common coins. In terms of features, the 2001D Lincoln Cent follows the classic design with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes certain examples stand out is not a major design change, but the quality of the strike and preservation. Coins in very fine condition will show moderate wear, yet still retain clear details in Lincoln's portrait and the structure of the memorial. Because many coins from this era were heavily circulated, finding one with smooth surfaces, minimal marks, and strong detail can be more difficult than expected. Unlike the 1998D and 2000D, the 2001D is not widely known for a major variety like the white AM, which makes its value more dependent on condition rather than a specific error. However, this does not mean it lacks collector interest. In fact, collectors working on complete Lincoln Memorial sets often seek well-preserved examples from every year and mid-mark. This creates steady demand for higher quality coins, especially those that stand out visually among typical circulated pieces. When we talk about rarity, it's important to understand that while the mintage of the 2001D was extremely high, the number of coins surviving in attractive very fine or better condition is smaller than many people assume. Over time, coins get worn down, scratched, or damaged, reducing the pool of collectible examples. This gradual decline in quality examples adds to their appeal in the collector market. Now, let's focus on the current market value. A typical 2001D penny in average circulated condition might only be worth face value or slightly more. However, a solid very fine example with clean surfaces and good detail can sell for around $1 to $5, depending on eye appeal. Coins that are on the higher end of the grade, or those approaching extremely fine condition, can reach higher prices in auctions, especially when collectors are competing to upgrade their sets. While these values may not seem huge, they highlight how even modern pennies can carry a premium when preserved well. For collectors, the best approach with the 2001D is to focus on quality. Look for coins with natural color, minimal wear, and no signs of cleaning. Even though there is no major variety to hunt for, condition can make all the difference. It's also worth checking coins carefully for any unusual errors, as unexpected minting mistakes can sometimes appear and significantly increase value. In conclusion, the 2001D Lincoln Memorial Cent reminds us that not all valuable coins rely on rare varieties. Sometimes, condition alone can drive demand. While it may not be as famous as some other entries in this series, it still holds a place in the collector market and offers value to those who know what to look for. Stay tuned, because we're getting closer to the most exciting coins on our list, and the next one might surprise you even more. We've reached the final coin in our series on the top 6 valuable Lincoln Memorial coins, and we're ending with a very interesting piece, the 2003D Lincoln Memorial Cent. Even though we just discussed this date, this final spotlight focuses on the best quality examples and why this coin, in higher-end very fine condition and above, can still capture real attention in the collector market. The 2003 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when coin production was at its peak. Billions of pennies were made, and most entered circulation immediately, being used cold-eye without much care. Because of this, truly Achi-preserved coins from this year are harder to find than many people expect. Over time, constant use causes wear, scratches, and dull surfaces, which means that attractive examples slowly disappear from circulation. That's where the importance of condition begins to stand out. In terms of features, the coin carries the classic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But for collectors, it's all about how sharp those features remain. A high-end very fine 2003 D coin will still show clear outlines in Lincoln's hair and coat, along with visible structure in the memorial building. Coins that have fewer marks, smoother surfaces, and more natural color are especially desirable. Even small improvements in detail and eye appeal can make a noticeable difference in value. When discussing rarity and collector demand, it's important to understand that this coin is not rare by mintage, but it becomes conditionally scarce. This means that while millions or even billions exist, far fewer survive in collectible shape. Collectors who are building complete Lincoln Memorial sets often want coins that look as clean and detailed as possible, even in circulated grades. This creates steady demand for higher quality 2003 D examples, especially those that stand out compared to typical worn coins. Now let's talk about the market value, which is the big question. A standard 2003 D penny in average circulated condition is usually worth only face value. However, a strong very fine example with clean surfaces and good detail can sell in the range of $1 to $5. If the coin is on the side of very fine, close to extremely fine, it can sometimes reach even higher prices in auctions where collectors are competing for better quality pieces. And if a coin shows exceptional eye appeal or an unusual minting error, the value can increase significantly beyond these ranges. For collectors, the final takeaway is simple but important. Always focus on quality over quantity. Examine coins carefully, look for natural surfaces, and avoid pieces that have been cleaned or heavily damaged. Even with a common date like 2003 D, patience and attention to detail can help you find coins that hold real collector value. Searching through circulation, coin rolls, or old collections can still lead to surprising discoveries. In conclusion, the 2003 D Lincoln Memorial cent serves as a perfect ending to our list. It reminds us that value in coin collecting isn't always about rarity in numbers, it's about preservation, demand, and the ability to recognize a standout piece among millions. From older dates to modern issues, every coin we've covered in this series proves that hidden value is everywhere if you know what to look for. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting insights and discoveries.